Let's try this again. Okay. So we have been talking about myths about unlicensed midwifery, independent midwifery, that sort of thing this week here at indiebirth. And today I wanted to talk about another one. So this is one that I think I maybe mentioned the other day when I did a live, but this idea that independent midwives or unlicensed midwives don't do anything. Sorry, I wasn't over here in the camera lens. So yeah, this idea I've heard around town about myself. I've heard it about other midwives that I know and love, just that we attend unassisted births and that we don't do anything. And I find this really fascinating. So I guess what I wanted to talk about today is the sort of invisible work of observing at a birth. So, even at a totally picture-perfect birth where I don't touch anybody, which is most of them, I am still very much doing something. And that something is, being grounded in the space and making sure that the space is conducive to letting a labor unfold. That's a big thing to be doing. And then secondly, I am observing closely, right? For signs that all is normal and well with both mom and baby. And so that makes it sound really simple, but it's actually really complex. So when I was a student midwife, the way that I thought about this was sort of, I was in the process of being a student midwife, I was creating my mental checklists and my own processes at births where I sort of knew exactly what to do at what point, even if it didn't look like I was doing much. So let's take, for example, the moment the baby's born. It may look like I'm not doing anything to someone from the outside, maybe who doesn't know a lot about midwifery, but to somebody who does understand, who perhaps has been trained as a midwife themselves, they know that you're doing quite a lot just by observing. So you're looking at the baby. You're, first of all, making sure that if it's a water birth, they're like being brought up out of the pool in a timely fashion, that they have good color, tone, that they're making efforts to breathe relatively soon after the birth. You've attended enough births at this point as a midwife to know what a normal transition looks like, and you're watching for it, right? You're not just sitting there crossing your fingers that all is well. You're making sure that everything is still within those parameters of healthy and normal. I have been blessed, of course, to have apprenticed with a midwife who really lets that process unfold on its own unless it really needs to be intervened with so that the baby will be stimulated to breathe, for example. And so my degree and width of comfort is probably more than someone who maybe never saw that in their own training. So, for example, I've been to births with midwives who were much quicker to give a baby breaths than I would be. And, sorry, there's some texts coming in here. So I guess all of that is to say that there's a huge amount of mental work happening in addition to like the energetic work of being a midwife in the way that we hope midwives are being at births. And the same thing goes for other parts of labor too. From the first moment that somebody calls and tells me they think they're in labor, till I'm home tucked in bed post-birth, I have really been spending probably just about every moment thinking about how I can best serve them and show up for them, and running these, and it's not always linear and it's not always literally a checklist, but there's a flow, and it's hard to even describe, right? This is where apprenticeships come in. It's something you can't teach someone, but there's this flow in my mind and in my heart and body at this point, around what it looks like to serve as a midwife, even when it looks like we are physically not doing anything other than watching. I think one of the ways that someone would learn this or see that this was the case would be to be an apprentice themselves. So I know for me, when I was a brand new apprentice midwife, I very quickly saw how much work there was to be done, even when we weren't meddling. Maybe, we weren't doing vaginal exams, we weren't doing tons of sets of vitals on people. there was still a lot of work to be done, and every time I get home from a birth, I am tired and sore, and my feet hurt from standing and cooking and cleaning and supporting people physically occasionally as well. So I guess I just wanted to dispel that myth that we just kind of show up for unassisted births. There's no way, I guess this is the other part I wanted to mention, that there's no way for me to attend a birth, even if it was not my own client, right? Like if I stumbled upon someone having a baby on the side of the road, or if I was attending a planned hospital birth with somebody, there's no way for me to turn off all of those skills and checklists and observational skills, I guess is what I'll call them. There's no way to not be a midwife, right? Once you are, and once it's something that's in you, there's no way to turn that off. It's a vast amount of knowledge, really, I guess is the word that I want to use. And in so many ways, it requires more effort to do less than to do more, right? And I learned that firsthand in some of my experiences in birth centers, where they're much quicker to do things, whether it's, more routine things like vaginal exams, or more interventive things like inductions and that sort of thing. So in those cases, it really looked like we were doing a lot, using lots of tricks and lots of skills, hands-on skills, but we really weren't using our observational skills nearly as much, and we weren't using these other communication and relational skills that we really think are important here at indiebirth, where we're building a relationship so that we can trust the person that we're in front of, and we are communicating effectively so that we can understand what is important to them and how they want their birth to unfold. So that's it for now. Just wanting to put that myth to rest, that we're not doing anything or that we attend unassisted births. There's no way for me to not be assisting at a birth if I find myself there. I will always be assisting in some way, even if somebody doesn't realize it. There's a lot going on up in the old dome. I don't mind your laughing faces. That's okay. We can all laugh. All right, well, that's it for today, and thanks for listening, and I'm sure we'll have more myth busting coming your way this week.